A few weeks ago, I got to be part of a really special event, and we got to bring the Goalpost team down to Cleveland, Ohio, and work at a Ronald McDonald Charity House event that had been put together by a man by the name of Mike Clegg. See, one of the interesting things about this particular event was the fact that I had never met Mike Clegg, and yet his legacy and his presence in the event was incredibly present because he had intentionally built a legacy over the course, at least when it comes to this particular event, over the course of the last 40 years. And what was interesting about this was not the amount of money that it raised or the amount of difference that it made, even in the people's lives whom that particular event benefited. What was truly impactful and impressive as far as I'm concerned was the number of people that were associated with the event who had been directly mentored and touched by Mike Clegg. He was able to leave a legacy of business professionals around the Cleveland area, like the likes of which I had never really seen before. To see an organization, a group of that type of kind of high-powered individuals that all could point back to a single person who made a huge difference in terms of mentorship and legacy within their lives, within their families, that it was really, really impressive. And one of the things that it made me think about was, how do we think about legacy in our lives? Because we often think about it with kids or buildings or money or whatever, but all it comes down to is, are you able to make intentional choices on a consistent basis that make an impact in the lives of people? So that's been the challenge that I walked away from that experience with, was how can I really focus on a daily basis to make intentional choices to make impact? I have the great blessing and advantage of having 5 kids that most of them listen to me still, and it can be really hard to be intentional about how do I want to leave that impact? How do I want to make that impression? How can I spend that time? But more than ever, the experience that I had looking at the legacy and the life of Mike Clegg and the people that he was able to touch was, how can I make those intentional decisions to leave an impact on my kids, on the people around me, on the community? You're going to leave a legacy. The question is that legacy going to be intentional? Are you going to be proud of what that legacy is? Or is that legacy just going to be something that is a byproduct of happenstance? You just showed up and did stuff for a bunch of years, and people remember whatever they remember? Or is it an intentionally planted seed that you grow and water decade after decade? And that's what I hope to do, is to plant seeds, tend them, water them, and make sure that I'm doing that on a consistent basis. So focus on intentional legacy. That's what I want to challenge you with on today's Walk to Work.